Today's video is about powers and exponents. So our learning target is I can evaluate expressions with powers. For your I know, please write what you already know about powers or exponents, anything you already know about powers, that's what you put there. And there's no vocabulary today. So please pause the video at this point, make sure you have written down your learning target, the date, and your I know sentence. And then when you're ready, you can restart the video and we will start with the notes. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about powers in general. So normally when we write powers, it's going to look something like B to the E. What this would represent, the E is my exponent, and the B is my base. And what this actually represents is if I wrote, for example, B to the fourth power, that is the same as if I were to multiply B by itself 4 times. So B times B times B times B. That is B to the fourth power. We could also say, okay, what if we had 4 to the third power? 4 to the third power would be the same as multiplying 4 times itself 3 times. So 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? So if we were to, for a couple examples, want to write each product as a power. So let's say that you saw the product 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. If we wanted to write this as a power, we would say that our base is 7. That's our number that is being multiplied each time. And then our power is the number of 7s that we see. So I see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 7s. That means that this is 7 to the fourth power. Okay? If I had 12 times 12, I could do the same thing. 12 is my base. And then the power is 2 because there are 2 12s. So 12 times 12 is 12 to the second power. I could even do it with letters. I could say G times 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 G. Okay? In this case, I would say that my base is the variable G. And if I count how many G's there are, I see there's 8. So this would be G to the 8th power. I can also do this the opposite direction. I can write each power as a product and solve them or evaluate. So let's say you had the problem of 10 to the third power. Well, if I wanted to write that power as a product, I see that my base is the number 10. That's the number that we're going to be multiplying. And to do that to the third power, it means I have to write the number of 10 3 times. I'm going to have 3 10s. 10 times 10 times 10. If I do 10 times 10 times 10 on my calculator, I will get 1,000. You'll notice some people see 10 to the third power and they go, oh, that's 10 times 3, 30. That is not correct. You are multiplying the 10 by itself that number of times. Okay? If we do 3 to the fourth power, see if you can do that on your own. Pause the video and then come back when you have solved it. Okay, hopefully you've solved this problem at this point. 3 to the fourth power, that would be 3 is our big number, our base. And we're writing it down 4 times because that's the power. 3 times 3 times 3 times 1. We can do that on our calculator. And we get the number 81. So that's basically how we work with powers. What we really want to do with powers at this point, though, is we want to be able to do order of operations when we have problems that have exponents in them. So we're going to do a couple examples of problems that are going to use order of operations with exponents. So the first problem that we're going to do is 22 minus 3 times 6 to the third power divided by 2 to the third power. Okay? If we're going to use order of operations, remember that order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. So the first thing we need to do is parentheses. Within the parentheses here, I have 22 minus 3 times 6. So within the parentheses, we start with the multiplication. 3 times 6 is 18. So I have 22 minus 18 to the third power divided by 2 to the third power. I always like to just go one step at a time and write down everything as I go. So I still have parentheses, so the next thing I do is 22 minus 18. 22 minus 18 is 4, so I have 4 to the third power divided by 2 to the third power. Now I am done with parentheses. Next is exponents. For exponents, I have 4 to the third power, and I have 2 to the third power. So for 4 to the third power, I can do that on my calculator, and if I do that, I get the number 64. That's divided by 2 to the third. Well, I can also do 2 to the third. 2 to the third power, that's 2 times 2 times 2, which is just 8. So finally, I can get to my last step, which is 64 divided by 8, which gives me the number 8. And that's my answer. I'm going to do a couple more. I'll write down the next one. And like normal, see if you can solve it after I write it down by pausing the video. So our next problem is 7 minus 3 to the third power minus 28 plus 8 squared. So if you want to, pause the video here, see if you can solve the problem, and restart the video when you are ready to proceed. So to solve this problem, we start with parentheses. Parentheses, I have 7 minus 3. That is 4, and it's to the third power. Writing out the rest of my problem, minus 28 plus 8 squared. 4 to the third power, if we do that on our calculator, that gives us the number 64. We're doing exponents next in our order of operations. I have minus 28 plus, I can do the 8 to the second power as well. That's also an exponent. 8 to the second power, that gives me 64. Okay. Now, I don't have any multiplication or division, so I move on to my next step, which is addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction go left to right. So I start with 64 minus 28. If I do that on my calculator, I'm going to get the number 36. I have 36 plus 64. If I add those two numbers together, that equals 100. That means my answer for this problem is 100. Okay? We're going to do 2 more problems. Again, if you would like to, after I write this problem down, feel free to pause the video. See if you can do 800 divided by 5 times 4 to the second power in parentheses. Okay, hopefully you've tried to solve it at this point. We're going to go over it together. We start with parentheses, 5 times 4 squared. But even within parentheses, I still have to use order of operations. So what that means is that before I can do the multiplication, I have to do the exponent. So first I have to do the 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16 times 5. And I'm writing down my whole problem again. 5 times 16 is 80. Finishing up my parentheses. And 800 divided by 80 to finish will just be 10. Okay? Final problem for today. If I gave you 3 to the third power minus 3 to the second power divided by 2. Pause the video, see if you can solve this problem on your own. Okay, hopefully you've tried it at this point. So we'll solve it together. Starting within the parentheses and looking at doing my exponents first. So first I have 3 to the third power. That'll be 27. Minus 3 to the second power. 3 times 3 is 9. So I have 27 minus 9 in parentheses divided by 2. Continuing within my parentheses, 27 minus 9 is 18 divided by 2, which is 9. A couple things with these, I recommend showing all of your work, being really, really careful. If you need to rewatch any part of this video, please feel free to do that. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can email me, call me, text me, send me a message in Schoology. Have a great rest of your day.